Hello, I'm DeRidder Mayor Ron Roberts, and I'd like to talk with you for a moment about something that's very important to me, and I think it should be important to you. Recently, we received the 2010 census numbers, and DeRidder is growing again. We now have 10,578 people living in our city. But it comes as a surprise to many people to know that we are smaller today than we were 30 years ago. So we still have some catching up to do. And how do we catch up? How do we get our neighbors from Fort Polk to want to retire here? And maybe more importantly than that, how do we get our children to want to come back here to DeRidder and live? It's a quality of life issue. In every survey that we have taken, every time we have questioned people about what they would like to see in DeRidder, recreation is always at the top of the list. And I'm sure if you dealt with youngsters, if you have youngsters, they say there's nothing to do in DeRidder. So we're trying to answer that question. And on April 21st, you, as a registered voter in the city of DeRidder, can go to the poll and vote for a recreation tax, a 1/4% recreation tax that we anticipate will raise about $625,000 a year to go into recreation. So let me tell you a little bit about our tax structure. If you look at all of the cities in southwest Louisiana, Eunice, Opelousas, Jennings, Lake Charles, Sulphur, Westlake, and then move north to Leesville and to Natchitoches, one of the things that you will find is that DeRidder has the lowest sales tax in all of southwest Louisiana. Our total sales tax is 8.75%. There is no other city that has less than 9%, and in fact, some of these cities, Opelousas, for example, has a sales tax of 9.75%. So if we pass a 1/4% tax dedicated to recreation, there will still be no city in southwest Louisiana that has lower taxes than we do. We think that's an important factor in this consideration. Now, let me tell you a little bit about that 8.75%. That's the total sales tax if you buy something in DeRidder. Now, the city doesn't get nearly all of that. First of all, the state takes 4%. The city gets 2.25%. The school board gets 2%. The sheriff's office gets 0.5%. So it's spread among all of the governmental entities, not only in the parish, but in the state. But let me talk to you specifically about our portion of that 8.75%. Our portion is 2.25%, and it's divided among three taxes. We have a 1% sales tax, a 1% sales tax, and a 1/4% sales tax. That 1/4% sales tax is dedicated to fire protection and police protection. It not only enhances salaries in the fire department and in the police department, but it buys equipment. In the last 5 years, we have been able to buy, because of that tax, 2 new fire trucks. You may have noticed, I hope you noticed, that last year our fire rating improved from a class 4 to a class 3. You should have seen this reflected on your homeowner's insurance. If your homeowner's bill hasn't gone down, talk to your agent. It should have gone down. We anticipate in the next couple of years we may be able to purchase another fire truck. Our goal is to move from a class 3 to a class 2. That would be a great accomplishment for a city our size. We think that we can do it. That's the 1/4% tax that we have right now. We have a 1% tax right now that goes for streets. It goes for garbage collection. We spend almost $1 million a year collecting garbage throughout the city. It goes for water, it goes for sewer, it goes for all of the infrastructure in the city. We anticipate, for example, that we are about to spend perhaps $600,000 on a water project. And you may have noticed if you've been driving around the community lately that we have 3 bridges that have been deemed by the state to be insecure, so we're going to replace those. That's what it called. The first 2 are going to cost us $560,000. We don't yet have a price on the third one. So that's where your money goes. That's where the 1% sales tax goes, and the second 1% sales tax is almost identical. The money goes for infrastructure. Now, in that 1% sales tax, 4% of 1% is dedicated to recreation. That's not much money. We've been fortunate in the last few years that we have been able to make some improvements in recreation. We have a new park, Veterans Park. Senator John Smith was responsible for getting us the money from the state to buy that real estate. As a matter of fact, we've done over $500,000 of improvements in the last 5 years, all with money provided by the state or some other entity. Some of our money has come from private foundations. But we have not had a great deal of money to put into recreation. You may have noticed our new basketball pavilion. That was $420,000. That essentially was paid for by the accumulated liquor tax that has been coming in for about the last 5 years. We anticipate later this spring that we're going to build a spray park, something for the young people. And if you've been to the city, you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about, particularly if you have younger children. Lake Charles has 5 spray parks. Ours is modeled after theirs, and right as I speak today, it is out for bids. So we hope to do that. But we hope to do a number of other things. We would like, for example, to build an indoor swimming pool. The swimming pool we have was built in 1950, and every year it becomes more expensive to keep it operating. So we'd like to build a pool. We think it's going to cost between $4 and $5 million, so that people could swim all year long, adults and youngsters alike. That's part of what this tax would go for. And I might mention with regard to the swimming pool is that once again, Senator Smith has come to our aid, and he has earmarked for us in the capital outlay budget in Baton Rouge $3 million for this project. Some of that money is available to us today. We could go ahead and take it to begin planning this project, but we have not taken it because we don't want to spend anyone's money unless the project is going to come to fruition. And the only way the project is going to come to fruition is if we pass this tax on April 21st. That will give us our portion of the money that will be needed to complete this project. Now, what else are we going to do? Well, right now we have 2 committees, and I invite you as a citizen to join one committee or both committees. Call City Hall, ask when the meeting is, tell them you'd like to be a part of the committee. The committees are doing 2 things. One committee is to help us promote the tax, and the other committee is to help us decide what type of facilities we would like to have. And we've had many suggestions: more tennis courts, volleyball courts, skateboarding park, a complete recreation center that encompasses handball, game rooms, weight rooms, that type of thing. Real estate acquisitions. The standard in the industry says that for every 1,000 citizens we should have about 10 acres of parks. We have 10,500 citizens. We have 60 acres of parks. We're about 40 acres shy. We would like to purchase some additional real estate and create some more parks. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is that we are working with other groups. We call it coordinated partnerships. We don't envision having a large city recreational department. We envision working with other organizations. Right now we have one organization that runs the swimming pool. We pay them to do that. Right now we have one organization that runs the baseball program. We pay them to do that. Right now we have another organization that has 150 youngsters enrolled in a basketball provide some money to support that program. At the present, we're not able to do that, but if this tax passes, we will be able to do that. We will be able to provide more activities for all of our citizens. We will be able to improve the quality of living for everyone in DeRidder. We want to make DeRidder the most attractive place we possibly can. So I urge you to think about this, and on April 21st, I urge you to go to the polls and vote for this tax that will be dedicated to recreation.